Welcome back to the Women Warrior Podcast. I am your host, Jen Michelle. I am accompanied by our part one guest from last week, Maureen Spataro, who we had the privilege of talking to her and picking her brain of all things awareness, all things kind of uncomfortable conversations.
Absolutely.
That need to be had. But you are doing something incredible that I feel like it needs its own episode. So you are the project manager for the Stephanie Nicole Parze Foundation.
Yes.
Which, as we spoke in part one, she was murdered by her boyfriend.
Yes.
And you are working really closely with her family.
Yes.
And creating some incredible spaces now to help people. I don't even want to jump into it. Please let everyone know what you are doing, how you are the project manager, and really changing the narrative and being a voice.
Yeah, that's really actually what we're trying to do. So we are creating what's called Stephanie Sanctuaries. And what I do is I contact police departments in each of the towns in New Jersey and ask them for a space, usually an interrogation room, because that's kind of the perfect size. And what we do is we take out the furniture that's in there, and usually the furniture that's in an interrogation room is a desk, 3 chairs, and a filing cabinet.
It's cold.
They're very, very cold. And what we learned through the foundation, with the foundation, and in talking to survivors, was that a lot of them are scared to go into police departments because when they're taken into those rooms and they're kind of being questioned that way, they almost feel like they're being treated like the suspect, like as opposed to the victim. Mm-hmm. And usually the interview is, of course, it's set up a certain way so that they can get as much information as possible. But when you're scared and when you're frightened, or if you don't trust because of past experiences, you tend to freeze up, you tend to get emotional, you're just coming from a chaotic situation, and you can't always just be on and answer those questions. So what we do is we ask them to clean out the room. I go in, I look at the room, I see how big it is, because they do vary in size, and I order new furniture to go in there, usually 1 big, very comfortable chair, and then 2 other comfortable chairs for the detective or the police officer and the advocate that usually gets called in. And we paint the rooms a very, a nice soothing blue. We put in new carpets, new ceilings. We put in lighting. We have put a mini fridge with refreshments and snacks. And then for me, the most important thing to put in was a chest of drawers, and each drawer has clothing in it in different sizes, underwear, socks, because many times if they're running directly from what's just happened to them, they're bloodied, their clothes are torn. If they've been sexually assaulted, their condition can be worse. And you're kind of sitting there in shock and feeling dirty, obviously abused. And we want these sanctuaries to be a space where they can decompress, where they know they're in a safe space, so that if they are being followed, which sometimes they are, no one can get to them. Also, whenever you go into a police department, you usually go up to a window or a desk, tell them why you're there, and you're asked to wait. And when you're in that condition, to sit in a public waiting room, worried if the person who's hurt you is going to come in, because some people are, that sick. Mm-hmm. Or to just be sitting there disheveled, bloodied, crying, and having the public come in for different various reasons, walking through, seeing you that way. It just adds to the shame and the humiliation. So when these victims come in and tell them what they're there for, they're immediately escorted to that room so that no one has access to them. And if they need new clothing, they're welcome to take it. If they just need to take a breath, they're allowed to take it, so that if it takes someone 45 minutes to come in and interview them, they're already in a place that they know they're protected, they're going to be seen, they're going to be heard, and they're going to be helped.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now you said you're in precincts throughout New Jersey.
Yes.
Which towns have you guys already set up these sanctuaries?
So Freehold Township, where Stephanie was from, she was born and raised in Freehold Township. They were our pilot program. They jumped on right away. That is already up and running and has already been used several times, unfortunately. Wow. It was only available 2 days and it had already been used. Manalapan, we're getting ready to unveil that at the end of this month. I think it's going to be ready May 29th. Then we go directly to Sayreville, and they're our first in Middlesex County, which we're really excited about. And they have a very large room. I did forget to mention that if people are running away with their children, there are coloring books, there are reading books, there are some small stuffed animals that they can, and everything is, they can take home with them. So we replenish everything. So Sayreville will be after that, and Old Bridge signed on very quickly, as well as Matawan, and we're very excited about those as well. And then we're speaking with Woodbridge, and just the other day West Orange got in touch with me. So wow. It's important to note that we just started doing this in March. So we're not even 2 full months into it, and we already have 7 or 8 that have wow. said yes. A few have said no, but that's because they don't have space. Some of the police departments are very overcrowded, and unless they move to another building, it'll be a while until we can get it there. But every police department, whether they said yes or no, has been very supportive of it, and that makes us feel like we're on to something.
I think you definitely are. I think it's something that is needed.
It is.
And like you said, it's a shameful feeling for these women or men that come in. So I think a sanctuary, the word sanctuary alone, I think you feel protected. I've seen the 2 rooms that you have posted.
Yes.
It looks like your living room.
It does. It really does.
It's a I just think this is so incredible that you're doing this with Nicole's family.
Yes.
This is the thing, is how do you turn your pain into helping others, you know? And that's what you guys together are doing. You're changing lives and impacting people that you don't even realize it, or knowing that this was something that was needed and being that voice for the unheard.
Well, I think because the topic is so taboo still, you have to try to find a way to bring it forward that's kind of tangible, that people can like actually touch or see, or say, well, if I'm donating my money, that I know exactly where it's going to, because they're telling us which police departments are jumping on. And Ed had relayed a story to me when there was a time where Stephanie's boyfriend had, it had been a terrible night, and he found her running through the woods away from the house, and she had to go to the police station to make a statement. And he said that they sat there for 45 minutes until she was just brought into an interrogation room, and how hard that was on her, and how scared she was. And she was bleeding. Her hair, she had been running barefoot in her pajamas, and her hair was disheveled. It had twigs because she ran into the woods. And to think about something like that and say, I don't know what it's like to go through that, but I can only imagine what it must feel like, and to know that I'm contributing to at least getting them to a safe space where they're not shaking, and they can take a deep breath to really give a correct statement and include everything that they want to and they need to. I would imagine that it would help people feel like they really are a part of a change that really needs to happen. And it has to, we have to keep figuring it out, because you see people protesting, you see people, wearing pink hats and thinking that that's going to help us. And it's like, it doesn't. We need action. We don't need, and action is not throwing your fist in the air with signs. I appreciate it, but you need to take that energy and put it into things that are tangible, that people can get behind, so that the help is going directly to the victims. I never went to a police department, because when I called them to my home, I literally was treated worse than he was. He was brought into the kitchen. He was a very big man. So 4 or 5 police officers were with him, and I was sent outside of the house to sit on the steps with the door open, and him being allowed to yell, Maureen, what are you doing? Maureen, what are you saying? Maureen, we can take care of this. Not being told to stop, not being told, he had kicked me down steps. He had pulled my hair. He had slapped me so hard that I almost went deaf in one ear. And there he is sitting at a table with these police officers laughing and joking because they knew a lot of the same police, a lot of people within the police department. Mm-hmm. And I understand that domestic violence is the most dangerous call for any police officer to be called to, because they have no idea who the perpetrator is and they have no idea who the victim is. So they're walking in blind. They don't know if there are weapons. They do not know what's going on other than someone is being hurt and they have to get in there. So I understand that maybe his size would require more people to be with him. Mm. But to put me outside and sit on a step with one officer who isn't saying anything to me, and to be able for him to feel comfortable enough to yell out the door at me, mm-hmm. and them not be able to tell what's going on, was really disheartening for me. And then I called him another time, and my daughter was there. She had come over, and he accused her of trying to run him over, which she didn't. And when I was trying to tell, I was afraid they were going to, no, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. One of the police officers turned around, looked at me and said, if you don't shut up, I'm going to arrest you. And I froze.
Of course.
He said, now take your daughter and leave. And I just thought, they're not even here to help me. So I would have never stepped foot in a police department. And I grew up in a police family in New York. So these rooms give the police officers an opportunity to take a breath too, and really assess the situation. Because if that person has made a false call or a forced, they're going to know. Yes.
They've been through enough of them. And now, thankfully, they have so much more training. They're so much more aware of this. And I think it is important for the public to know that those types of calls are really putting them squarely in a situation that they don't even know if they're going to be able to get out of. So it's so helpful on so many levels, because it bridges the gap between the community and the police department. It makes a subset of people who don't feel like they're believed or seen or heard know that we care about you. We want you to have this space so that we can help you. So I'm really proud of it.
You should be.
I'm really, really proud of it. And Ed and Charlene are always so generous in letting people know, no, this was Maureen's idea. And I have trouble saying that because I don't always like to have that type of attention on me. I feel like it's a team effort, but personally, I feel like I did something. I figured something out.
Yes.
That I think will make a difference. So the sky's the limit now.
Yes. So now anyone that is watching, how could they help contribute to these sanctuaries?
The best way to contribute to the sanctuaries is a donation to the foundation, because every single penny that we raise, every donation is only going, that is going to be the sole purpose of the foundation now, is to make sure we get these sanctuaries in as many towns throughout New Jersey as possible. And then beyond, I want to go into New York. We really want the country to feel like there's a positive movement, something that's actually being done to help people kind of start to feel safe enough to take that first step and say, okay, I'm actually going to go. I'm actually going to talk to someone about this, because then advocates come in. There are resources that they don't have that they can be given. And the only way to be able to do that is to be able to continue to raise money. Mm-hmm. Each room costs between $4,000 and $5,000. So to be able to just continue going and not have to wait
for grants. Grants are difficult to come by. They're not easy. You have to wait for them. They're distributed. You know, if you get a $25,000 grant, you're not getting $25,000 right up front.
Yes.
It's being distributed a certain way. So in order to keep it going, I tell everyone, you know, to go to snpfoundation.org. And even if it's a $5 donation, you know what? That's 5 coloring books we can buy. You know, we ask people not to send in items because we are a small foundation, so there's not a lot of space for us to keep things. But to know that your $5 went to coloring books, or maybe we were $5 short for that last chair and you gave it, every dollar counts.
Yeah.
Every dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is incredible.
Thank you.
And thank you for staying even longer so that we can talk about
I could talk about this all day. I'm just so proud of it.
I think you should. And, you know, my heart always goes out to, you know, her family, because I'm a mom, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm all things. But I hope that they realize that they're also like angels.
They are, and that's actually what they call their volunteers.
Oh.
Stephanie's Angels are what we're all called. And it's interesting because whenever I think about Stephanie, I think about you, because she was a makeup artist. She was a hair and makeup artist.
She's very pretty.
She was beautiful, and she was talented and athletic, and all she wanted was to meet that special person and start her forever with them, have children and be a mom. That was what she wanted the most. And a lot of our daughters feel that way.
Yes.
And we have to keep that in mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you, Maureen. One more time, just for anyone that's on, where could they find you and where could they donate to, if you can just give those handles?
On Facebook, I'm at _Maureen_Spataro. On Instagram, I'm on Facebook, Maureen Spataro. You can message me. And for the foundation, it's snpfoundation.org.
Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you, honey.
Thank you to each of you that were on. Guys, this is an important topic that you need to have those discussions, be a friend, be a listening ear, know that you are not alone, and also know that you can reach out to Maureen, because, you know, it's good to know that somebody's in your corner, and don't take this lightly. This is Women Warriors, where you sit with us, the conversation is different. I am always so grateful to be in the presence of women that are breaking barriers and rising, and just incredible warriors in their own right. So I will see you guys next week, and thank you for tuning in.